Welcome to the biology classes. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, chapter 7, structural organization in animals. This chapter deals with the animal anatomy, that is, we'll study about the internal structure of animals. Now you know that the basic unit of organization in all animals is cell. A group of similar cells along with intercellular substances that perform a specific function is called as a tissue. Now you will be surprised to know that in all the multicellular organisms, especially the animals, there are only 4 basic types of tissues. Now these 4 types of tissues organize in specific proportion and pattern to form various organs like stomach, lung, heart, etc. And when 2 or more organs perform a common function by their physical or chemical interaction, they form the organ system like digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Now cells, tissues, organs and organ systems, they split up the work in such a way that they show division of labor. Now suppose there are few cells that are doing the work of digestion. So they will together first form tissue, then these tissues will organize into organs and finally form the digestive system, which will do only the work of digestion. There may be other cells which are responsible for excretion, for the removal of nitrogenous waste. So these will group up together first to form tissues, then to form their organs and then form the excretory system, which will do only the work of excretion. So there is clear-cut division of labor in case of animals. The 4 basic tissue types of animals are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and neural tissue. First, let us deal with epithelial tissue. It is also referred as epithelium. This tissue has free surface which either faces a body fluid or outside the body, that is the environment. It always provides a covering or a lining for some part of the body. For example, skin is an organ made up of epithelial tissue. So it forms a covering of the entire body. In the same manner, there will be epithelial covering for every organ, and if the organ is hollow, then it will also have an inner lining made up of epithelial tissue. The cells of this tissue are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. There are 2 types of epithelial tissue, namely simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Now simple epithelium is composed of a single layer of cells and it helps in secretion or diffusion of material and forms a lining for body cavities, ducts and tubes. The compound epithelium, it is protective in nature. It consists of 2 or more cell layers. On the basis of structural modification, we can further classify simple epithelium into squamous, cuboidal and columnar. The squamous epithelium is made of a single layer of thin flattened cells with irregular boundaries. They are so thin and delicate that they form a diffusion boundary and are found in the walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs where there is exchange of material. The cuboidal epithelium is composed of a single layer of cube-like cells. This is commonly found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of nephrons in kidneys, and its main functions are secretion and absorption. In the previous classes, you have studied about the structure of a nephron. You have studied that it has a Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, Henle's loop and distal convoluted tubule. Now this PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, has cuboidal epithelium and it also possesses microvilli, that is finger-like projections in its epithelium. The columnar epithelium is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. Since they are very tall, their nuclei are located at the base. Free surface may have microvilli, that is finger-like projections, to add the surface area of functioning, that is either absorption or whatever function they have. Their main function is again secretion and absorption. Like the walls of the intestine, they have columnar epithelium with microvilli on that for absorption of the material. Stomach also has columnar epithelium. If the columnar or cuboidal epithelium, they have cilia on their free surface, then they are called as ciliated epithelium. Their function is to move particles or mucus in a specific direction. Cilia is hair-like structure and it will help in moving the particle in a particular direction. They are mainly present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles, that is in the respiratory system, and fallopian tube, that is in the reproductive system of female. Some of the columnar or cuboidal cells, they get specialized for secretion and are called as glandular epithelium. These glandular epithelium can either be having only one cell, unicellular, forming isolated glandular cells, example goblet cells of the alimentary canal, or they can be multicellular consisting of clusters of cells as in salivary gland. On the basis of the pouring of their secretion, glands are divided into two, that is exocrine and endocrine. Now exocrine glands, they have ducts and secrete their products directly through the ducts or tubes. Now they secrete a variety of things like mucus, saliva, earwax, milk, various digestive enzymes. These are all secreted by exocrine glands. Endocrine glands, they are called as ductless gland because they don't have ducts, and they pour their secretions directly into the blood. The products that they produce are called as hormones. So endocrine glands, they produce various types of hormones which are secreted directly into the blood. This is the basic difference between exocrine and endocrine gland. Now coming to compound epithelium. Compound epithelium is made up of more than one layer, that is they can be multi-layered, and their role is mainly to provide protection. Because they are multi-layered, they provide protection mainly against chemical and mechanical stresses. They cover the dry surface of the skin, moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, inner lining of ducts of salivary glands and of pancreatic duct. Just like cement helps in binding two bricks, like that the cells of the epithelium are held together with the help of intercellular matrix. They provide both structural and functional links between individual cells. There can be three types of junctions found in epithelium and other tissues. These are tight, adhering and gap junctions. Tight junctions, as the name indicates, help to stop substances from leaking across a tissue. They are so tightly closely packed that no leakage can take place in this junction. Adhering junctions perform cementing to keep neighboring cells together. Gap junctions facilitate the cells to keep communication with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for rapid transfer of ions, small molecules and sometimes big molecules. So this is clear that when the junction is so tightly packed that nothing can cross the junction, then it is called as tight junction. When there is cementing like effect to keep various cells together, then it is called as adhering junctions. and when there is big gaps between the cells so that there can be exchange of materials, then it is called as gap junctions.